Welcome to LIVEDAF, your online Daf Yomi Shiur.
Shalom Aleichem, welcome back to today's Daf Yomi, which is Shabbos Daf Kuf Yotes. We are up on Amud Aleph on the top line. Amar Rava Teisili, reward, schar, should come to me. We had a whole list of Amoraim who made similar statements regarding deserving reward for various favorable things that they did. Perhaps they were trying to inspire others to follow suit, to do likewise. It says, Amar Rava Teisili, I am deserving of schar. Schar should come to me. Because when a tzurba rabbanon, a young scholar, would come to me, would come likamoi before me ledina to conduct a court case, out of my endearment to Talmidei Chachamim, lo mazigna reisha beisadya, out of chavivus that I had towards Talmidei Chachamim, I would not place my head, lo mazigna reisha, I would not place my head abeisadya, on the pillow. I couldn't do it. Kama de lo ma'afichna b'schusei. Before delving into analyzing the position, the argument of the Talmud Chacham, of this litigant, to find schus, find merit in his position. So in Rava's eyes, the Talmud Chacham was the one that was presumed to be the man of integrity, the honest fellow, and therefore he tried to find merit and schus in the position and the argument of the Tzurba Mirabanan. Continues the Gemara, Omar Mar Baravashi, Pasilna le Tzurba Mirabanan Ladina. Out of my chavivus to Talmidei Chachamim, I am pasal, I'm disqualified from conducting a din for a Tzurba Mirabanan. Why? My time at the chaviv like a gufay, because he's dear to me like my own guf. And if that's the case, I have no ability to be objective. One doesn't have the ability to see guilt within himself. He's not objective when it comes to himself. So the Talmud Chacham was so dear to him. He regarded him as his own body, and therefore he had no ability to be objective. And therefore he says, I'm disqualified from litigating a court case involving a tzurba mirabban. Now, the Mepharshim speak out, although a person is meant to have ahavas Yisrael, love for every Jew, but a dayan is meant to somehow separate between the two things and have the ability to nevertheless view the case objectively. Whereas when it came to Mar Baravashi, his love for the Talmud Chacham was so dear, it was like his own self, and therefore he had no ability to be objective, and therefore he was disqualified. Says the Gemara, going back to Shabbos, Rabbi Chanina me'atif v'koi, he would wrap himself with elegant v'godim, v'koi, he would stand apanya de mali Shabbato. This was Mali Shabbat, Erev Shabbos, Apanya, late afternoon, right before Shabbos. Omar, he would exclaim, he said, Boyu, Neve, Neitzil, Kras Shabbos Hamalka, let's go out and greet, let's go towards Shabbos Hamalka, Shabbos the Queen. Why do you refer to Shabbos as the Queen? It says the Maharsha because the Medrash says that Shabbos is the Bas Zugoy of Yisrael, like the wife of Klal Yisrael, the partner of Klal Yisrael. Therefore he referred to Shabbos as the Queen of Klal Yisrael. Rabbi Yanai, Lovish Shmane, he put on his special Shabbos clothing, B'mali Shabbos, on Erev Shabbos, V'omar, and he said, Boy Kala, come Kala, referring to the Shabbos, come to your husband's home. And this was his way of receiving Shabbos. Rabba Bar Avula Ikla, he visited Lebei Rabba Bar Nachman, he visited the home of Rabba Bar Nachman. Kribule, now they offered him, they served him, Tlas, Savi, 3 saw, a large amount of tachi, of these greased, these smeared rikikin, Rashi says, these crackers. So whatever it is, it was a large amount. And he was taken aback. He says, Amar Lahu, mi havayadihisun ta'asina. How did you know? Did you know that I was arriving, that you prepared this large amount of serving? Amar Lei, so they responded to him, mi adifas lon mina. Are you greater? Are you better than the Minah, than Shabbos? Meaning we prepared it for Shabbos. We didn't know that you were coming, but this is what we prepared to cover Shabbos. Rabbi Abba Zavan, he purchased B'tleiser Astiri with 13 Astiri is a coin, Astiri Pshiti, a certain kind of coin. 13 coins he would purchase on Erev Shabbos. Bisra meat, Mitleiser Tabachi, from 13 different butchers. She would go to each butcher, give him a coin for a portion of meat. This way he gets a variety, different types of meats from different types of butchers. and then he would rush home. Umashlim lahu, he would hand it to the servants at home. He would hand it to them at tzinoira de dasha. He'd place it by the on or near the tzinoira, the hinge, the dash of the doorway. So he would place it there and rush back to buy the next portion of meat. Va'amar, and he would announce to them, to his servants, Asher, strengthen yourself, Haya, hurry up. Asher, strengthen yourself, Haya, hurry up. Meaning, go ahead and prepare the this portion, and then he would run off to do his next purchase. Ravo, so the Gemara describes different Amoraim, how they would prepare personally for Shabbos. They would get themselves personally involved for the preparation of Shabbos. Recham points out that the Gemara tells us elsewhere that it is a greater mitzvah. The mitzvah has greater significance if it's done by the person himself rather than through a shliach, through an emissary, through a servant. So we find that the tzaddikim here would personally get involved, at least we're going to see at least in a minimal way something physically for preparation for Shabbos. Says the Gemara, Rabavo hava Yosef atach de shina. He would sit on this pedestal of shina. Some say it means ivory. This nice chashev thing. He would sit on it, u'moishev nura, and he would blow the fire to get it going for Shabbos. Rav Anan, on the other hand, lovish gunda. He would put on a black smock to get involved in the kitchen, the cooking process. He put on a black smock not to get his prevent from his clothing getting soiled. The Torah de Rishmal, as we learned in the Brisa, begodam shabishal ben kedei l'rabbi, the clothing which the Eved, the servant, wore to when he was cooking. Bishul ben kedei l'rabbi, that he cooked when he was cooking the pot of food for his master. Those same clothing that gets soiled in the kitchen, al yimzeg ben kais l'rabbi, he shouldn't wear them when he is moizeg, when he pours the glass, the cup of whatever wine for his master, because the clothing worn during the cooking are soiled. This is meant to change to more elegant, clean clothing and serve his master in this manner. So Rav Eliezer Moshe Horowitz in the back points out that there's a machlekes here between Rav Avo's approach, who sat on this elegant pedestal when he went ahead and he prepared the fire for Shabbos, as opposed to Rav Anan, who said no. His shita, his opinion was that, look, it's preparations for Shabbos. One's meant to do away with his dignity and his physical comfort and elegance. One's meant to put on a smock and get himself down and dirty, preparing for Shabbos. Two approaches. Rav Avo took the elegant approach, and Rav Anan, he took the more menial labor approach. Go put on a smock and go cook. So the clothing worn here are meant to reflect what he's doing. Just as we find in the Brisa that the Eved is going to wear, he's going to downgrade his attire when he prepares the actual food. So there are two different types of serving. There's the service, direct service to the master when he's actually pouring the kais, when he wears clean, elegant clothing, as opposed to when he's involved in menial labor, physical activity, when he wears more basic clothing, a black smock to do the cooking, because that demonstrates that now it's not a time to keep clean, keep neat, rather to get involved in physical activity, physical effort, menial labor, and doing away with one's dignity. So this is a demonstration of the commitment of the Eved to his master, that he's willing to exert this effort and to do away with his dignity for serving him and, in this case, preparing for Shabbos. Continues the Gemara, Rav Safra, Machach Reisha. He would singe the head of the animal, so he would take the head and he would burn off the fibers, the hair. This was the way that he prepared for Shabbos. Rava Malach Shibuta, he would salt this Shibuta fish. Rav Huna Malik Shragi, he lit the candles. Apparently this was in addition to what his wife used to light. She used to light candles for Shabbos. Rav Papa Gadol Psilta, he braided the wicks needed for the Shabbos, neighbor Shabbos. Rav Chizda Purim Silka, he cut the beets. Rav Yosef Matztach Sivi, they would chop the wood. Rav Zera Mitzates Tzitzusi, he would go ahead and kindle the fire using splinters of wood. That was his effort to cover Shabbos. Rav Nachman Yitzchak Mekatev V'ayil, he would load up and come in. Mekatev V'nafik, load up supplies and bring them out. Whatever was needed, clothing and supplies for the covered Shabbos. And he said like this, Amar, he said, Ilu Miklin Li. Rabbi Ravasi, if Rabbi Ravasi would come and be my guest, Miloi Maktifna Kamai, would I not go ahead and carry around these loaves in front of them as a demonstration of honoring them, respecting them, and serving them? Likewise, when it comes to Shabbos, certainly I'm meant to go ahead and conduct myself in this manner. Vigid Amri, some have a different version, that it was Rav Ami Rav Asi who were Mekatvi V'Aili, Mekatvi V'Nafki. They schlepped in, schlepped out. Amri, and they said, Ilu Ikalon, Rabbi Yochanan. If Rabbi Yochanan would come here, Miloi, Mekatfina, Kamei, would we not go ahead and schlep all this stuff in front of him? Certainly we would, and therefore we do it for Shabbos as well. Let's take a look at Rashi inside. Describes these various preparations. Rashi here is 20 lines from the top, beginning with the words, Atachtaka de Shina. Says Rashi, Pashtadul, some type of a chair, a pedestal, Shalshain, of ivory, Shechoshev Hayav Asher, because we're speaking about Ravo, who was a prominent person, wealthy. U'moishef Nura, Neifech Misham Nura. From there, from his position, he would blow the fire, get it going, the Kavod HaShabbos. Rabbeinu Levi Goras, Ataktaka de Shaga, Tidar, certain type of wood that this chair was made of. Lovish Gunda, so this is opposed to, as in contrast with Rabbi Anan, who put on this kli shachar, this black garment, loidia, to demonstrate. Today is not a day which is suitable for conducting himself with chashivas, with prominence. Shabbos, and to be chashiv from and refraining from getting himself involved in cooking for Shabbos. So he put on the smack so that his clothing would not get soiled when he was involved in cooking the food for Shabbos. Cooking soils one's clothing. If there was a head of an animal that needed singeing, he would burn off the fibers on his own, physically, personally do it. Parim, lashon prum, mechater kat, mitzates tzutzusi, meitzis ha'or, he would kindle the fire, beitzim dakim, using splinters. And finally, we have the thing with Rav Nachman Yitzchak, who was mekatef ayel v'katef anotfik, says Rashi, be'er Shabbos, yoytze v'nichnas, he would go out, come in, lahavi tavid masois, v'klei tashmish, packages of klei tashmish, utensils, b'gdei choyfish, these clothing, elegant clothing for Shabbos, or megadim, delights, ka'odam shemakabelas rabbi b'beisai. Akin, similar to a person who is b'makabel his Rebbe in his home, or mara lo shu chashiv alav. So he receives his Rebbe and he shows him, demonstrates to him that he's chashiv on him. He regards him with respect or chashivas, v'chorid l'kvoid, and he's anxious and busy to respect him and honor him, l'troyach l'haris v'shviloi, to burden himself and to increase whatever is needed and to serve him properly. Continues the Gemara. The Gemara is going to relate the famous story of Yosef Meiker Shabi. Says the Gemara, Yosef Meiker Shabi. Yosef, who was Meiker, he honored Shabi. Rashi translates this as Mechabed Shabboses. He was one who honored Shabboses. Hava hu nochri b'shavusei. There was this Gentile in his neighborhood. He had very many possessions. Wealthy fellow. Armele Kaldoy, so the stargazers told the Gentile, Kula nichsi, all your nachas, your possessions. You know where they're going to end up? Yosef Meiker Shabi, Achalu, he is going to have them. He's going to take possession of them. So, to preempt this thing from happening, so he thought of a plan. Azal Zevninu, Lekula nichsi, went and he sold off all his nachasim. Zavam bu Maganisa. He purchased with them a Maganisa, an expensive Maganisa, a pearl. Oisva besaine. So he placed it in his hat. So he set up in his hat. This way, it's safe and secure. When he was walking along on a bridge, Afrachesika. So the gust of wind came along and blew off his hat. Shadi b'maya, tossed it into the water. Bali kavra, a fish came and swallowed it. Perhaps only the pearl, perhaps the entire hat. Askua, the fishermen caught the fish, they pulled it out of the water. Aisua, Apanya demali Shabbata. Towards evening on Erev Shabbos, Apanya means towards evening, demali Shabbata of Erev Shabbos. Now, they were in a quandary. Amri, they said, Man Zavan Kihashta, who's going to purchase a fish at this time right now, at this late hour? It's not exactly the right time to sell fish. Amri Luz, others advised them, Zilu, go to you, go bring the fish, like Gabi Yosef Mekishabi, to Yosef Mekishabi, to Ragal Zavan, because he's accustomed to buying. Try your luck with him. To you and Ne'aleh, indeed, they brought a fish to him. Zavne, he bought it. Kari, he opened it up. Ashkechvei Marganisa, and he found within it this expensive pearl. Zavne, he sold it. Betleisa, Elisa, the dinner that Ahava. He received a great fortune in exchange of this pearl. 13 Elisa, 13 upper floors, meaning roomfuls of dinri that have of golden coins. Rashi points out many times when the Gemara uses the term Telesa 13, it's merely an exaggeration. The point here is that he received great wealth in exchange for this expensive pearl. So this certain elder met him and explained to him what happened. Amar, he said, Man de Yadav Shabbata, one who lends Shabbos, he spends money for the sake of Shabbos. He lends Shabbos. Money, pari Shabbata. Shabbos will return, Shabbos pays him back. And indeed, that's why you merited this great fortune. Continues the Gemara, Boi minei Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yossi. So Rabbi has the following question of Rabbi Shmuel Rabbi Yossi. Ashir Shvez Yisrael, b'mayin zoichem. The wealthy ones in Eretz Yisrael, on account of what do they merit wealth? Amar Leisi told them, B'shul Shema Asrin. As a result of the fact that they take off meiser from their crops. Shenemar aser to aser. It's a double lashon aser to aser. Says the Gemara, aser, you should take off meiser. You should separate the 10th b'shvil shatis asher, so that you become wealthy. So this is the answer. They're meticulous regarding the mitzvah of meiser. So he continued asking him, what about the Ashira in Bavel who have an opportunity to do the mitzvah of Maser? On account of what are they Zoiche to wealth? Amar Leis, he told him, due to the fact that they accord honor to Torah. So he continued asking him, what about the wealthy ones in other lands that perhaps don't have this chus? Why are they Zoiche to Ashiras to wealth? Amar Leis. So Bishmol Rabbi Yossi answered him, because they are machabed, they honor Shabbos. The Amr Rabchi bar Abba Pamachas Nesarachti Etzel Balabayis Belutkia. I was once a guest at a certain Balabayis in the town of Lutkia. V'yifilu fanav a shulchan shel zav, and they presented before him a golden table. Masui shisha asa b'nei adam, need to be carried by 16 people, so heavy. V'sheish esrei shal shaloi shal kesef. And there were 16 silver chains, kvois boys, set in this table, k'orois and plates, v'koisais, cups and containers, pitchers, slechas and containers, kvois boy, were set on this table, v'olav, and on it was to be found kol minei machal, many varieties of food, the kol minei megodim, many delights of all types, ubsamim and spices. Ukishamanich moisen, that when they would place this table, what would they say? They would say, La Hashem ha'eretz malaya. Everything in this world belongs to Hashem. One cannot partake until He makes the bracha. So this was their exclamation when they brought the food in. When they were finished, they removed the table. They would say, Hashemayim, Shemayim Lashem. The Shemayim is Lashem ba'aretz. The earth, Nasam B'nei Adam. Hashem granted it to B'nei Adam to enjoy. And indeed, this was their way of expressing thanks to Hashem for granting them this abundance of food. Amarti loy. So this is Rav Chi bar Abba narrating. He says, I was his guest and I witnessed this abundance, this wealth. Amarti loy. So I turned to the owner. I told him, B'ni, my son, on account of what did you merit this great wealth? Amar li, so he told me as follows. Katzav I used to be a butcher. From every good quality animal that came my way, I used to separate a piece. Amarti, I would say, Zute le Shabbos. This is reserved for Shabbos. Amarti loy. So I responded to him and I said, Ashrecha shazachisa. Fortunate are you that you were zoiche to conduct himself in this manner and to be zeicha to ashirus. Ubaruch hamakam shazikech lekach. So fortunate are you that you zeicha to be mechabed Shabbos. That's the first part, ashechas v'chisa. And then in response to that, ubaruch hamakam, baruch Hashem shazikech lekach, that granted you this wealth as a schar for your honoring Shabbos in this extreme manner. From the words of Mashal, it seems like this story took place on Shabbos. And indeed, this as well was a display of honor towards Shabbos. Amalei Kesar, so this Gentile Kesar turned to Rabbi Shua ben Chananya, and he asked him as follows. Amalei Kesar Shua ben Chananya, B'pnei ma tafshel shel Shabbos reichei noidav. Why is it that the tafshel, the dish, the food of Shabbos, reichei noidav, it exudes this pleasant aroma? Amar loi. So Rabbi Shua responded, Tavlin echad yeshlan. We have this specific spice. V'Shabbos shmoi. It's called Shabbos. That we put into our food. And it exudes this special, unique, pleasant aroma. Amar Loi, said the Kesar told him, okay, tein lanu heimenu. Give us some of it. And let us put it into our foods. Amar Loi. So Rishon responded, it won't work. Kol ha-meshamer ha-Shabbos. One who observes Shabbos, meaning a Yid, moyeloi, this spice benefits him. He derives the benefit from the spice. But one who does not observe Shabbos, moyeloi, this spice will not benefit him whatsoever. So Shabbos is something you need to experience. It's a spiritual delight. It's not something which can be transferred. It's untransferable. So one who lives Shabbos, experiences Shabbos, experiences the spiritual existence of Shabbos, he enjoys this tavlin, this spice, this spiritual delight called Shabbos. So the guy had some inkling, some sort of whiff of a smell he was able to discern, but more than that, he would not experience. Amalei Reish Galusa, the Rav Hamnuna. So the Reish Galusa, the head of the exile, this was the head of the civil authority, which was recognized by the government, and he was a descendant of David HaMelech. That's the Reish Galusa. So the head of the Jewish community in the Gullus, in Bavel, he told Rav Hamnuna, he asked Rav Hamnuna, Mai dechsiv, well, how do you explain the pasuk which says L'Kdosh Hashem mechubad? So this is the pasuk which says V'koras Shabbos Oineg. You meant to call out and establish Shabbos as a day of delight, a day of Oineg, a day of pleasure. But the pasuk continues L'Kdosh Hashem. So the one which is sanctified to Hashem, mechubad. It's meant to be honored. Now we already mentioned Shabbos. So what is the pasuk referring to? L'Kdosh Hashem mechubad. Amalei, so Rav Nuna responded, you're right. It's not referring to Shabbos. Zeyam Kippur. She'en bo la'achil v'le'shtia. There's no food or drink on Yom Kippur. Therefore, the pasuk says, Amar Torah kabdei b'sus nekiah. How do you honor Yom Kippur? You can't do it with food and drink, rather with clean clothing. And the pasuk, that same pasuk continues, v'chibadatai. You meant to honor. This is going back to Shabbos. Now, we already discussed oineg, pleasure, delight. What is this additional thing of v'chibadatai? Says the Gemara, indeed, it's not referring to the content of the meal, but rather the timing of the meal. Who meant to distinguish Shabbos from an ordinary weekday regarding mealtime. Rav Amala Hagdim. This is referring to being magdim, advancing the meal, beginning the Suda earlier than during ordinary mealtime. Ushmol Amala Achar. This is referring to delaying one's Shabbos meal, which increases the appetite. Amalei b'nei Rav Papa bar Abba l'Rav Papa. So they asked Rav Papa as follows: Kegoyin anan. For instance, us, the shchiach lon bisra v'chamra kol yoma. It is common for us to have bisra v'chamra, meat and wine every day. We have an abundance of these materials. And in what way are we meant to make Shabbos distinguished, different, special than an ordinary weekday? How are we meant to deviate and to have Shabbos be different than an ordinary weekday? Amalu, so he told them, likewise, if you are accustomed to eating early, then delay the Shabbos meal. If you are accustomed to eating late, then go ahead and advance the Shabbos meal, begin early. So you cannot alter the content of your meal, but the timing should reflect the day of Shabbos. Now Tosfos points out that based on this Gemara we can understand that Rav and Shmuel, mentioned earlier, were actually not having any machlekes whatsoever. When Rav said you meant to advance, lahakdim, and Shmuel said la'achar, to delay, so they were both referring to different circumstances. Rav says advance when a person is accustomed to eating late. Shmuel says delay, referring to a person who is accustomed to eating earlier, and therefore on Shabbos he's meant to delay somewhat. Continues Gemara, Rav Sheshes, who was actually blind. Now, he used to learn with the Talmidim on Shabbos morning, and he wanted to ensure that they get up from the drasha when the meal time comes. He didn't want to delay them, hold them back unnecessarily. So how would he do it? Because he couldn't see what time it was. He didn't notice the sun. So what did he do? Rav Sheshes Bekaita, during the summertime, he would strategically place his Talmidim in a manner in which they would be compelled to get up when the time of the meal arrives. So Bekaita, during the summertime, Moshe Lul Rabbanan, he would sit the Rabbanan down Heicha Dematya Shimsha, at a location where the sun is going to arrive when mealtime comes. This will compel them to get up and go have their Shabbos Suda. Biz Sitva, during the autumn, Moshe Lul Rabbanan, he would sit them Heicha Dematya Tula, where the shade would come, it would get cold and chilly, so that when mealtime arrives and it gets hot or it gets cold in the autumn, then they would get up, likumu, they should get up higher quickly to go ahead and partake in their Shabbos Suda. Continues Gemara, Rab Zera, Mahader Azuzi Zud Rabbanon. He would go after the pairs of the Chachamim who engaged in conversation and learning. He would go after them and tell them, Amar Lahu, he would tell them, Matusa Menaicha, please, go ahead and engage in the light of Shabbos, go have your Suda. Don't be Mavatel, don't be Mechal Shabbos, but Matusa Menaicha, please, Loisachal Lune, don't desecrate Shabbos. By being Mavatel, nullifying the Tanugim of Shabbos, go ahead and have your meal. Amar Rava, Be'itema, some say is Rabbi Shimon Levi. I feel Yochad am Espalber of Shabbos, even individual on his own, who is davening on Erev Shabbos, he's meant to include Vayichulu in his tefillah, which is testifying to Hashem's creation of the world in 6 days, resting on the seventh. So it's an edus to Hashem's omnipresence and absolute control, creation and recreation of the world. So although it's an edus, it's testimony, generally speaking, an edus testimony is meant to be conducted through two witnesses. So even though he's merely a yachid davening on his own, nevertheless he should not refrain from expressing this testimony of Vayichulu. The Omar of Amanuna call him a spalber of Shabbos. Vayim Vayichulu, one who's davening of Shabbos, and he says Vayichulu malav akosov. The pasuk regards him kilo nasa shutav HaKadosh Baruch Hu b'ma'aseh bereishis, as though he has become a partner. He's partnering with Hashem in the ma'aseh bereishis, in the creation of the world. Shenemar Vayichulu Hashemayim v'aretz v'tzavon. Al tikri Vayichulu, instead of reading Vayichulu, ela Vayichalu, they completed. Meaning, instead of Vayichulu, the world was finished, the creation was finished. Vayichalu, meaning both of them. This is a plural term. Them, both. Vayichalu, they, Hashem and this person, completed the world. What does that mean? Explains the Maharsha, because the point of Shabbos is to attest to to Hashem's creation of the world. Now, Hashem created the world, but if the masses are not aware of that, then it's lacking. The awareness is lacking, and the purpose of the world was not really accomplished yet. So this fellow who attests to it and testifies and announces, yes, Hashem created the world. Hashem is in charge of the world. Hashem gives life, constant life to the world. He is demonstrating, he is testifying to the fact that Hashem is the creator of the world. So Hashem created the world, but He is creating the awareness to that effect. So indeed, He is contributing to the completion of the world, to bringing the world and having it realize its purpose and its goal and objective, so that we come close to Hashem and we recognize Hashem. So He's contributing, He's a shutaf, like HaKadosh Baruch Hu. He's creating that awareness, and therefore He's a shutaf to Hashem in the creation of the world. Omer Belazer, minayin shadibur k'masa. How do we know that mere words are regarded in a certain extent like masa, like action? Shenemar b'dvar Hashem shamayim nasu. With the word of Hashem, the heavens were made. So we see that words alone can create. Likewise, referring back to the person who's testifying, he's merely saying words. He's testifying Hashem's presence, Hashem's creating of the world. That those words are regarded in a certain extent as masa. As we said, he's regarded like he's creating, he's a shutuf to the creation of the world merely by expressing words. Those words are tantamount to doing. Now, Farshim point out that conversely, one is meant to refrain from speaking about words which describe malachos on Shabbos, because words have weight, they carry weight, like masa. Omar Chizda, Omar Ukva, call him a spal b'erev Shabbos, one who is davening on erev Shabbos, v'omer v'yichulu. What happens? Shnei malach hashoris, those two malachim, hamalavan lo adam, that escort the person. Manichin yedem al roshai. They place their hands on his head. They tell him, "V'sar rabbinecha, v'chatascha t'chupar your avayin will be removed and your chet will be atoned for." Tanya Rabbi Yosef Yehuda Omer, Shnei malach hashoris, melavan lo adam b'erev Shabbos, beis hakneses lebeis. There are two malachim that escort a person on his way back from the beis hakneses home. Echad toiv echad ra. One of them is a good malach, one of them a bad malach. When he arrives home, and he finds the ner, the lamp which is lit, the table which is set, his bed made. Malach Toiv Omer. What does the Malach Toiv say? He exclaims, the Yiratzen should be Hashem's will. Shabbos acheres kach. Just as everything is so in order in honor of the Shabbos, likewise, next week, next Shabbos, it should be the same exact way. Malach Ra, the Malach Ra has no choice, and against his will, he answers Amen. Vimlav. But if this is not the case, he comes home, things aren't prepared properly for Shabbos. Malach Ra Omer. Then the Malach Ra responds and says, Yirotza should hail Shabbos Hacheres Kach, and the coming Shabbos should feature the same thing. Malach Toiv Oina Amen Bal Korchai. And the good malach is forced to answer against his will. He's forced to answer Amen. Explains the Marsha. These two malachim are those two forces. One of them which tries to inspire a person to do a mitzvah. So this pertains to every mitzvah. There's the good malach which tries to push him and inspire him to do good, and then the bad malach, which is that Yetzer Hara, and tries to dissuade him, discourage him from doing mitzvahs. So these two malachim are the Shabbos malachim. They're related to the mitzvah of Shabbos. They both escort him home and see what the situation is. The malach, if the good malach sees that everything is in order, he inspires him further, he spurs him on. And conversely, if things are not in order, then the bad malach gains control and he expresses his wish. Continues the Gemara, Omar La'olam Yisadu Adam Shulchan Erev Shabbos. One should always seek to set his table properly on Erev Shabbos, even though he's only going to partake a small portion of kazayas, he should set his table in honor of Shabbos. Likewise, on Motzei Shabbos, from Malva Malkov, Amar Chanina, Lo'ilam Yisada Adam Shulchan Motzei Shabbos. Even though he's only going to eat kazayas, he should go ahead and set his table in honor of Shabbos. Now, how does this honor Shabbos? Explains Rashi. This too is an honor and respect of Shabbos. You're escorting the Shabbos just like as one would escort the king who's leaving town. This Suda, setting the table, this Suda of Matzah Shabbos, is his way of according honor to Shabbos on his way out. So, on the way out of Shabbos, one is meant to do this Malava Malka. Interesting that some of the Farshim point out that Rav Chanina was actually the one who referred to Shabbos as Shabbos HaMalka. So it's very fitting that we call the Suda of Matzah Shabbos, described by Rav Chanina, as the Suda of Malava Malka, because it's escorting the queen who is leaving town. Says the Gemara, Melug Chamin b'Motzei Shabbos. Hot water on Motzei Shabbos. Rashi says, drinking and rinsing oneself with hot water. So a hot coffee, a hot shower. Melugma is a remedy. It has therapeutic power to strengthen a person. Perhaps a person's in a weakened state due to his losing the neshama yisera. So hot water strengthens the person, and remedies his weakness. Pas chama Motzei Shabbos, hot bread, fresh bread on Motzei Shabbos, malugma, that as well has therapeutic value. Says the Gemara, Bavo, he was very elaborate when it comes to the Motzei Shabbos procedure. Hava avdin lei ba'apuka Shabbata. They would prepare for him on Motzei Shabbos. Igla tilsa, a third born calf, which was of high quality. Hava ochem e kulyasa. He would only eat a small portion, a kidney. So they prepared this big festive thing, and he only needed a bit, but they did it so that it was an expression that demonstrated the kavod of Shabbos. Now, his son observed this, and he was perplexed. When Avimi, his son, grew up, Amar Leis, he turned to his father and he said, why do you need to waste all this? To go and shech this igla tilsa, this high quality calf, just for a single kidney that you're going to eat. Nishba kul yasim bali shabbata. Let's simply leave over a kidney from the animal which we use on Erev Shabbos, which we prepare for Shabbos. Shavku. So that's what happened. They left the calf. They left the calf alone. They didn't slaughter on Motzei Shabbos. Va'asa arya, and a lion came along. Achle, and he ate it up to indicate, yes, there is something to it. To go ahead and to present an elaborate affair and prepare this igla tilsa in honor of the departing Shabbos. Omer Rabbi Shimon Levi, kala oyna omen yesh me'rabba mevarach b'chol koichai, one who responds, who answers. Omen yesh me'rabba, that the name of Hashem, the Shmei Rabbah, his great name, mevarach, should be blessed. If one expresses this b'chol koichai, Rashi says b'chol koichai means b'chol kavanosai, with all its concentration. Taisus brings that it's referring to b'kol ram, with a loud voice. So he exerts effort in calling out Yesh Me'Rabba, koirin le'gzardinai. They tear up his bad gzardin, his bad edict. Shenamar, as the pasuk says, b'froya prois b'Yisrael, b'snadiv baruch Hashem. It says in my time b'froya prois are misfortunes. Why are those misfortunes going to be nullified? Mishum de baruch Hashem, because the nation is baruch Hashem. They bless Hashem. They commit themselves and they bless Hashem. So it's referring to Yesh Mirab Mavarach, which has the power to annul decrees. Rav Chiba Amar Rav Yochanan, afilu yesh bo shemesh avodah zarah, even if he has a trace of avodah zarah within him, they forgive him on account of him expressing Yesh Mirab b'chol koichai. Ksiv hacha b'frei price, because this pasuk uses the term b'frei price, and I find elsewhere ksiv hasam, and elsewhere the term employs a similar term, which was in the context of the egel, which was the avodah zarah. The pasuk is ki paruahu, because the Klal Yisrael is all disturbed. This was referring to the avodah zarah. So b'frei price means that the avodah zarah that's contained with him will be disturbed and negated and done away with due to his involvement in Yesh Me'Rab Mavarach. One who answers Amen with all his might, they open for him the gates of Gan Eden. Shnemar, Pischu Sh'arim, open the gates. V'yavei gate Tzadik, Shomer Emunim. Al Tikri Shomer Emunim. Instead of reading Shomer Emunim, Ella read She'oimrim Amen. Those who say Amen. My Amen. What is the meaning of Amen? What does it stand for? Says the Gemara, it's actually a combined word, an acronym, Rosh Tevis. Amar B'chanina Keil Melech Neman. Amen stands for Keil Melech, the king Neman, who's trustworthy. And perhaps Neman means he's constant, he's eternal. Taisus actually points out that based on this Gemara, one should be mahar, should think in his mind when he says Amen, this meaning, Keil Melech Neman. Amar V'Yehuda B'Reid Shmuel Mishmei Derav Einad Leikum Matsuya. A fire is only found Elo B'Makom Sheyesh Chilul Shabbos, only in a place where there's Chilul Shabbos present. Shenemar V'Mois Yishmor Lei L'Kadosh Yom HaShabbos. Uvilti says Masa, if you don't listen to me to sanctify Shabbos, to refrain from carrying loads, V'Yitzati Eish B'Shareh, I will ignite a fire in its courtyard, in its gates, and it will consume the palace of Yerushalayim, v'loi tikaveh, and v'lo sichbe, and it will not be extinguished. My v'lo sichbe, what does this mean? It won't be extinguished. Amar Nachma Yitzchak b'shah, because the fire will break out at a time, at a very inappropriate time for putting out fires. When? It will fall out on Shabbos. B'shah she'ein bnei adam mitzuyim l'chaboisam, when there's nobody available to put out the fire. We're speaking about that's going to fall out on Shabbos. Amar Abai, l'chor b'Yushalayim. Yushalayim was not destroyed only ela b'shvil shechilu b'es Shabbos, because they desecrated Shabbos in Yushalayim shenemar umishab soisai limeyneyam. From my Shabbos, they turned away their eyes, they ignored the va'echal b'soicham, and I became profaned amongst them. Amar avo l'chor b'Yushalayim ela b'shvil. You know why the Yushalayim was charav? Because Shebitlu Krishma Shachas V'Abbos, only because they negated the reading of Shema in the morning and the evening. So they were Mevatel Krishma, and as a result of that, Yerushalayim is Charav Shenamar Hoy Mashkim Yavaboiker Sheichar Yudoifu. So woe to those who get up in the morning and they pursue drinking of beer. And the pasuk there also speaks about delaying at night. So they were busy involved pursuing pleasure, drinking, and as a result, they negated the reading of Krishma of the morning and the evening. Uksiv, and the pasuk says, they were involved in instruments and drinking wine. And they did not gaze at the workings of Hashem by proclaiming the oneness of Hashem and the existence of Hashem through Krishma. So they neglected to get involved in reading Krishma. As a result of that, my nation went into exile mibli das due to a lack of das. Yushalayim was destroyed because of the following reason. Only because of because they diverted the small school children from their learning. Why was the anger spilled on Yerushalayim? Because the youngsters, the little children, were outside. They were not involved in learning. They were being disrupted from their learning. You know why Yerushalayim was charav? Elo was only because of the following reason. Because they did not have shame from each other, shame from Averis. They lack this attribute of busha for doing Averis. Because the katan v'gadol, the less prominent and the more prominent, were equalized. They were dealt with equally. They did not accord the proper honor to the great ones, the Chachamim, that deserved kavod. So the nation, the Kohen, were treated equal rights. And what does it say afterwards? The land is going to fully empty out. Because of the following reason, because they did not offer admonishment one to another. So the princes were like ayolim, like deer. Didn't find pasture. What is the equation between the sarim of Yerushalayim to the ayolim, to the deer? Just as this deer. So one's head is by the other one's tail. He's looking down. So likewise, the Yisrael in that generation, they cast their faces downward, down towards the karka. They don't bother doing teichacha, admonishing one another. Because they denigrated Talmid Chachamim. Shenemar, as it says, they were scoffing at the messengers of Hashem, at the Talmid Chachamim, uboizim dvorov, and they demeaned Hashem's words, umasatim b'neviyav, and they mocked His prophets, until Hashem's wrath, Hashem's anger descended on His nation, until there was no remedy. My adlein marpei, what does that mean? Amar Yehuda, Amar Rav. This teaches us, one who demeans a Talmud Chacham, there's no remedy to his wound. Don't touch my anointed ones, and my prophets don't harm. He's referring to those small school children. Don't touch them. Don't interfere with them. Why the Tinoik is called Meshichai? Some say because children are anointed with oil. Rabbi Lezer Moshe Horowitz actually says because Meshichai means the Meshicha. They used to anoint the king when they inaugurate a new king. So the Tinoik Shel Rabban who are in school, it's their training. They're training their youngsters. They're learning, and they're being educated and trained, and therefore the pasuk refers to them as Meshichai. Ubenevi al Tereu elu Talmid Chachamim. This is referring to the Chachamim. As Rashi says, the Talmud Chacham is regarded like a Navi. The pasuk says, "If a Navi levav Chachma," so don't interfere with them, don't harm them, don't disrupt them. Omer Reish Lakish mishum Yehuda Nesiyah. Eino oidel miskayim. What keeps the world going? The only thing that keeps the world going is Ella b'shvil hevel tinegesh beis Rabban. The world exists on account of the hevel, the breath of those tinegesh beis Rabban, those small school children. The breath of their Torah is so pure that sustains the world. What about our Torah? The diva didachmai. Amar leis Abai responded, even so, einoi doima hevel sheish bechet. You can't equate the breath of adults which are tainted with chet. Lehevel she'em bechet. You can't compare that to the hevel, to the breath, to the learning of these small school children which is pure and innocent, free of any trace of chet. One does not disrupt the learning of the Tinokesh Beis Rabban afilu lebinya Beis Hamikdash, even if they're needed for the rebuilding of the Beis Hamikdash. That's important. Their learning is. The following is a tradition from my avos. Some say that the way he said it was that this is a tradition from your Mavesecha, from your avos. What was the tradition? As follows: Kol ir she'ein ba Tinokesh Beis Rabban, a city which does not feature Tinokesh Beis Rabban learning, ma'achriv noisa, eventually it's going to be destroyed. Ravina amar ma'achriv noisa, eventually it's going to be annihilated. Rashi says without any remnant. V'amar Rava lechav Yishalayim, you know why Yishalayim was destroyed? Ella b'shvil shepasku mena anshe amana, because of the following reason. Ella only b'shvil shepasku mena anshe amana. Anshe amana are the men of integrity, honest people, were no longer present in Yerushalayim. Shenema shoytu b'chutz Yerushalayim. Go look around in the streets of Yerushalayim. Go see if you find a person who does justice and who seeks integrity, emes. And I will forgive to Yerushalayim. Is that the case, that there were no men of integrity present in Yerushalayim? Even during the downfall of Yerushalayim, men of integrity was still there. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, Ki yitzpais ish ba'achiv, beis aviv. So one grabs his brother and he says, Simla lacha kotzen tialonu. What does this mean? Dvarim shebnei adam miskasim behem kesimla. Yeshnam biyadcha. So he would grab his brother and he would say, look, be a chief for us. Come teach us Torah. You're knowledgeable. Dvarim shebnei adam miskasim behem kesimla. Words, things, the very Torah, which generally people pretend to know. So they pretend that they're hiding their knowledge. They know, but they don't want to say. So that's something which b'nei adam miskasim behem kesimla. People dress themselves up, cover themselves with a garment, so they hide the fact that they're ignorant. They pretend to know, and they're just not revealing their knowledge. So those things, yeshnam biyadcha. You, however, you have full possession of these things. You're knowledgeable. You're Talmud Chacham. They're in your hands. So why don't you teach us Torah? What does this mean? Devarim. These are the depths of Torah. Those things that generally people cannot really gain the proper clarity, unless they initially They stumble once, twice, until you get it right. It takes a while to get the clarity of the depth of Torah. So those deep things, yesh l'tachas yadecha, you have in your possession. Katzon tiyalana, be a chief for us. Come teach us Torah. So this was the request. Now, how does this fellow respond? Yisa v'yamu leimar, lo yeh chovish. What does this mean? Ein yisa. The word yisa here is referring to a shvuah. He would swear. Ein yisa loshen shvuah, v'chein oimer lo yisisa, Hashem Hashem lakecha. Don't swear using the name of Hashem falsely. So the word yisa is referring to shvuah. He would swear. He would respond with a shvuah. I swear. Lo yeh chovish. What does that mean? I'm not one of those who contain themselves, who contain themselves in the Beis Medrash. I'm not the ones who dwell in the Beis Medrash. I'm not knowledgeable. Similar. In my home, there's no bread, there's no simla, there's no garment. I don't have in my possession not mikra, which is chumash, tanach, mishnah, nor mishnayos, like gemara. I'm ignoramus. I have nothing to teach you. So we see that there were men of integrity, honest people in Yerushalayim. Says the Gemara, there's no right from there. How do you know that's indicative of his integrity? Dilma, perhaps, Shani Hasav, there's different. The Amalu, Gamirna, because if he would propose, if he would say, yeah, I'm knowledgeable, I've learned a lot of Torah, what would they say? Amrulay, Amalan. So they would tell him, okay, teach us. So he can't deny the facts. It's not something that he can pretend. Says the Gemara, still in all, if he was trying to put on a front, Havali Lememar, he should have said Gomer v'shachach. He learned and he forgot. So why did he have to say Mai lo yechovish? Klal, Mai lo yechovish. Why did he say lo yechovish? I'm not one of those who aren't closed in the Beis Medrash. Apparently he's trying to say Klal. Klal. I'm absolutely not one of those that attends the Beis Medrash. I never was. Not like I learned and I forgot. I was never knowledgeable. So indeed we see that he's being honest. There are men of integrity in Yerushalayim. So how can you say the reason why Yerushalayim was charav was because there were no men of integrity? It says more like kasha, it's not a kasha. Kam b'divrei Torah, kam b'maso matan. Indeed, when it pertains to divrei Torah, they were men of integrity. You don't want to receive undeserved praise. However, when it comes to maso matan, to business activities, they did not conduct their business with honesty and integrity, and indeed that led to the downfall and destruction of Yerushalayim. Okay, time for a brief review of today's daf. The Gemara described for us the various Amoraim who personally were engaged in the preparations of Shabbos. The Gemara told us the story about Yosef Maki Shabbos, who received great wealth as a result of his being generous in his expenditures of Shabbos. The Gemara told us indeed that one is Zoichet Ashiris to wealth as a result of Yimechabit Shabbos. The Gemara told us that this special taste, this flavor of Shabbos can only be enjoyed by one who actually experiences and observes Shabbos. The Gemara told us the importance of saying Vayachulu, becomes a partner with Hashem in the creation of the world. The Gemara told us about saying Amen Yesh Meirabah and also Amen B'chol Koichai, according to Rashi, B'chol Kavanosai, according to Taisus, B'Kol Ram. The Gemara discussed the inequities of Yerushalayim, which leads to its destruction and downfall. Disregard of Shabbos, disregard of Kriya Shema, disrupting the school children from their Torah, the lack of busha for inappropriateness, the lack of kavod for Talmud Chachamim, the lack of the disregard of Teichacha, they failed to admonish one another, and finally regarding business activities, dishonesty and lack of integrity pertaining to business matters. And the Mashal points out that unfortunately many of these things, these phenomena are still prevalent today, still present nowadays. And he says one should inspire himself to improve in all these areas. And indeed it would be zeicha to rebuilding Yerushalayim and Binyan Beis HaMikdash Meher B'Meinu Amen.